I think you guys led the zombie craze. I think it really took off after you guys did Shaun of the Dead. Am I correct, Ryan?
You are absolutely right.
I think that's what they're saying.
Yeah, it's really, really true.
I think also, Danny Boyle had 28 Days, which was, wasn't a zombie film really by Danny's definition, but certainly had the survival horror kind of feel, and also Zack Snyder kind of loosely remade Dawn of the Dead, and they all sort of came out at a similar time. I think the beginning of it was that game Resident Evil on the PlayStation, which really captured the spirit of George Romero's original zombie films, that sort of shuffling, slow zombie, that guy.
Now, you know what I love about you guys' films? It's your chemistry and your friendship really, really, really goes through on the screen. You could just feel the love and feel the friendship. How long have you guys been friends, and where did you first meet?
Well, that's acting. all that is good acting.
We met on eHarmony.
We met on Angie's List. We've been friends for 20 years.
Okay.
And we met, I was working as a waiter, and his girlfriend at the time was working as a waitress, and we became friends, and then I met Simon through her. And then as time passed, we realised that the real love story was between him and I, not him and her, and we got rid of her, and here we are.
Unfortunately, we've both married and had children since, so we've had to sort of...
So we're separate women.
We can't hang out.
We didn't get married to each other.
Now, a second ago, Simon, you mentioned Resident Evil. Are you guys into video games? Do you play?
Not anymore.
Not really. I got a kid who comes up and messes everything when you're trying to play or trying to even watch a video. He comes and just turns it off.
I managed to play Temple Run for 3 minutes the other day while my daughter watched me, but then she just grabbed my iPhone and wanted to play herself. So
I've got a thing on my phone called Limbo, which is quite fun. It's quite dark.
There was a thing that came out today, or within this week, that said that people have spent more time playing Call of Duty than humans have been on planet Earth.
Wow.
That's terrible, actually.
That's not that amazing a statistic,
the
right?
video game industry outsells the movie industry by 3 times.
As I understood it, it was music and movies combined.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, really, we're in the wrong business. We should be...
Creating games?
Yeah, shooting dinosaurs or whatever they do.
Would you ever do a game from one of your movies? Or why haven't you?
Really, that's not up to us.
Yeah. I mean, we could do another different game, I guess, and voice it in that terrible way that games are voiced.
I don't know why more actors... I did a great game called Fable 3. I had a great voice cast. There should be more good voice acting in video games. It should be more attractive to actors to...
and not this.
Whoa!
Hey, look out! Whoa!
Enrique, who did this, I wonder?
For me, doesn't make a good video game good. I think good at... I did one and it was like... There was... Fassbender was in it. Stephen Fry. It was a great cast and big sprawling game. But sadly, I just don't have the time to play them anymore, I find.
I always get I feel very guilty.
Why?
I think if I'm upstairs playing a game when my wife's downstairs with a baby.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's fair.
Yeah.
My Catholic guilt kicks in and I give up and go downstairs. And
I've had so many friends that have lost their marriages because they're freaking in the basement and their wife is waiting for them upstairs and you're playing games in the basement, man.
It's
Come
a
on.
terrible
It eats
thing.
time. It eats time, you know.
You know?
And
it eats relationships too.
Yeah, you're right, Nick.
Yeah.
How is it being a daddy, Nick?
It's amazing. He's a rough little kid and I like it. His name is Big Mac. And yeah, he's lovely. He's getting to an age now where he's saying words that we never taught him and he's just picking them up. So the other day I was covering him with kisses and he was really laughing and he'd gone all weak. And then I went to do it again. He went, "Stop it! It's too much." And it's like, where did that come from? Where did that come from? Stop it! It's too much.
One of the things my dad told me about when I first had kids, he says, "Listen, get your kisses now because they grow up so fast.
I know.
Yeah.
You got to do it." And you have a daughter, right, Simon?
I do, and I love it. It's amazing. I love the sense of relief you get when you realize that you're not the center of the universe. When you have a kid and everything sort of clicks into place, and you realize that you're here for someone else,
Right.
not you.
Right.
It's actually a relief. You just think,
This is
oh,
a
thank
relief.
God. And you can just focus on someone else and not be such a selfish person.
I played a very elaborate trick on my child where I realised that he didn't like kissing me on the lips. He kisses his mum, but he doesn't kiss me on the lips.
Right.
But I hurt my hand, and he saw that I hurt my hand, and he came and kissed the wound on my hand. Mwah. So I figured, oh, right, okay. So I kind of put this really elaborate plan into effect where he saw me like hit my mouth with this like piece of wood. Oh God! Oh my God! And then from that point on, then whenever I touch my lip and go, oh, he has to come over and kiss me on the mouth.
You had to smack yourself in the face with a piece of wood to get your son's affection.
Yeah, but I did it once and he didn't see me doing it, so I was like, oh,
I gotta do it again.
Now.
Blood pouring out of your mouth.
Oh my God! Is he looking? Is he looking?
So tell us about The World's End. Tell us about it.
The World's End is the third film that myself, Edgar, and Nick have done together. The first two being Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, and it's kind of loosely related to those two films. It's not a sequel; it's a completely different story.
Right.
But it's about five friends who reunite after about 20 years to try and redo a pub crawl they did when they were 18, 19. They didn't quite finish, but it was one of the greatest nights of their life, particularly for the leader of the group, which is Gary King. Who played by me, who is no longer the leader of the group. They've all, grown up and moved on, apart from Gary, who's still this sad sack, looks exactly the same as he did when he was 18, albeit a little bolder, and he gathers them together to remount this crawl. They go back to their hometown, they start the crawl, and midway through they realise that the town has been invaded by alien robots.
Let's hear a clip.
Because whenever you go home, everything, whenever you return to your hometown, everything is the same but different. You get this weird sense of simultaneous alienation and familiarity, and you can never quite put your finger on what's changed. And we just thought it would be funny to make it a very real reason and make the alienation quite literal,
Right?
And say something genuine and important through that. Not just. I mean, it is. It's a very funny film, but it also says a lot about growing up and about midlife crisis and addiction and all sorts of things. So it's a cake and eat it type movie.
Well, yeah, Gary's kind of stuck in the past, right?
Oh my god!
Oh yeah.
Do you know anyone like that who just hasn't gotten away from their high school years?
Edgar, Edgar the director.
Really?
Oh,
What does he hold on to?
Everything.
The wardrobe, the car, the what?
He's always dressed the same. I mean,
He has always dressed the same.
Brundle, isn't he? He just does
Seth
the same.
Brundle?
Yeah, from The Fly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he is.
His wardrobe is just a series of black jackets and polo shirts. But no, Edgar, we kind of realised that if you come out of The World's End and you think to yourself, I don't know anybody like Gary King, it's because you are Gary King.
Oh,
you.
okay.
And there's always somebody in the group who, I mean, I'm only saying that because Nick and I have obviously settled down. We have marriages and children and
Right.
domestic bliss. Edgar's still out there, living the dream.
No, is there something from your past that you've uncomfortably held on to?
No,
that you refuse to let go, Simon. Come on, there's got to be something that you refuse to let go of.
We're pretty good.
Yeah, I'm. Nostalgia is a medical condition. It sounds like a medical condition. It's like neuralgia. Nostalgia is the inability to live in the present. It's about being too focused on the past because what you have now is not quite as good. Whereas for me, and I speak for Nick as well, I think, is that we're very happy in the now. And so I look back on, like, the music in the film is extremely. Is a real mixtape memory fest. There's some great tracks in there. So I'll look back on music nostalgically. But otherwise,
music
I'm happy in the now.
Also, I think nostalgia is a thing that happens to you if you don't live by it, if you don't react upon your impulses. That's what eats you up in later life. I think if you get to a point where you're 11 and you're getting bullied and you think, God, I should have hit that bully. I always hit the bully. Or I always told the girl I loved her. Or I always went for that kiss.
Right.
Even if it didn't work out, I could never now think, I should have kissed that girl. Because I probably tried to.
I hit the girl and punched the bully.
I kissed the bully.
That's
And hit
true.
a woman.
They do say your biggest pain is that of regret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than a missed opportunity or a regret. That you can never undo that. That's what with Gary in the movie. He didn't quite finish this pub crawl, and it's eaten him up, even though it was the best night of his life. And I think he clings to that as being the one possible key to happiness, which he doesn't have, is to do this pub crawl again.
And he's right.
And he's right,
When's the last time you went on a pub crawl?
Oh, geez. I mean,
Last night. No.
a long time ago. I don't drink anymore, so it's I can't even remember it. Maybe your stag do. I think.
Yeah, my stag do maybe. That's 5 years ago.
5 years
I went
ago.
out Saturday. I hadn't been out for ages. I'd been on the road for 4 weeks, and I got back to England, and my wife kind of Saturday said, "Why don't you go and meet a mate for a drink?" And that was about 5 hours later. I remember standing
Way to get you out of the house.
on a bit of waste ground, shaking my fist at the moon, and then I woke up.
Well, I guess
Feeling terrible.
One of the signs in the movie that it's been taken over by robots is it's homogenized. I guess it's all turned into chains and like very neat places. Am I getting that wrong? But
Well, that's the thing is if you go back to your hometown, you often often the little towns in the UK where we grew up, when we go back there, they're turning into little Londons. You know, you start seeing, you know, the obvious things are Starbucks and McDonald's, these kind of chains that begin to take over the high street. No more so than with pubs, these old sort of like pubs that used to have run by families and now run by big pub chains who try and recreate that folksy feel, but really they're just corporate entities, you know. And really that's kind of what's happening to Earth in the film. It's as much the homogenization of the planet as it is the kind of like ma and pa pub.
You sound like you're very against that.
I don't know, but we don't really say either way, because the fact is, yeah, there's a Starbucks where the old coffee shop used to be, but was the coffee really that good before, or was it just because it wasn't
Really mean old woman that served watery drip.
Yeah, it's like, you know, is Starbucks...
I can't change a 5.
We're not saying either way, are we? It's like...
No.
You know... There's it's all very well to rail against some kind of thing that's happening to the high street, but unless you do something about it, then that's just a little way of, you know, you feel a bit rebellious and you just get on with your life and you keep, you know, taking the corporate buck.
But also, my son's generation and his son's generation will rail against stuff that we like, you know, like Starbucks or whatever, like, you know, when they're kind of getting coffee pills pumped into their eyeballs, they're going to be like, oh, this is better than, you know, having double shot. You know, it's generation.
Now, as you guys love making films together, and we love watching you, is there any plans for a Paul 2? I love Paul.
No, I think
Seth Rogen.
sadly that time has come and passed.
gone?
I think, you know, it's been 3 years since Paul came out.
I don't know. In this, you know, the thing is, in this day and age, with the way that the movie industry is, even in the short space of time since Paul, the idea of a high budget comedy of that kind is just less and less probable. You know, I mean, Paul himself was an incredible creation by the Double Negative, the company that created him, and a beautiful piece of movie magic. I look back on it, I'm so proud of that movie because of.
Also, it was so expensive.
Yeah,
Paul,
20 million.
20 million just
to
for
make,
Paul.
Just for Paul, you know.
But
We had a joke that
Wow.
in the first scene of the film, Paul could say, "Hey, look, I can also do this." And he became Will Smith, because it would have cost us the same to have Will Smith in the film.
Wow. It was good, though. Brought a tear to my eye.
Thank you.
We had a
good.
great idea for a sequel, and you know, we spoke about it when we were doing the press tour. We were going to call it Paul's, but it would have been a more expensive film than Paul. And the climate now in the film industry is just very different. It's changed. Even making this film for us, you know, this film, I think Hot Fuzz was probably about just over double what Shaun of the Dead was, and this film is less than double what Hot Fuzz was. So, you know, the idea of a comedy these days, over 25 million in budget, is getting less and less likely, because the big markets that are opening up are China, Russia, these places that want to see big action, they want to see the Avengers, they want to see Mission Impossible.
Right.
You know, those kind of films will do well, and those kind of films will get bankrolled. The smaller films, it's getting less and less easy.
You think either of you would ever do a TV series?
Absolutely.
I just did one with Bob Whitey, who created Curb Your Enthusiasm. So I think that's going to be on Sky, on British television next year sometime. And hopefully we're going to get it onto HBO or Showtime or something.
Maybe we could open up the Kickstarter thing, you know, because a lot of filmmakers are going to Kickstarter now to raise money for films.
That's
and
right.
hey, I'd kick in for Paul too.
Would you?
Yeah.
Set in China.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
All right.
I think a lot of the serious acting is taking place on TV now. You look at a lot of the really, you know, good storylines, great acting. It's all happening on TV. I just did a pilot with Frank Darabont called Mob City, which is coming out later in the year, and I'm just so excited to see Breaking Bad back on. And you know, it feels to me like a lot of great actors are migrating to TV because that's where there are less explosions.
Nice. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming by. And your Twitters, how to get to the world's end, everything like that. Plug away the things people need to know.
Can I do my voice again?
Yeah.
I can't split a 5.
That's a good
It was good.
like a Simpsons voice. You can follow us at Simon Pegg, at Nick J. Frost, and at Edgar Wright. And we've got a Tumblr, the Cornetto Trilogy Tumblr. The film's out on August the 23rd. We're doing some trilogy screenings, actually, of Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End, which you can check out on AMC, ArcLight, and Alamo.
All over the place.
Check local press for details. And, get into it. I think you're really going to love this movie. We're very proud of it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.